Alright, this is Mr. S, and today we're talking about Lesson 7. How do we know whether or not a population will grow or stay stable or decline? And so the objective, what we're trying to figure out today, is to evaluate claims, evidence, and reasoning that the complex interactions in the Serengeti ecosystems maintain relatively consistent numbers and types of organisms in relatively stable periods, but large changes may result in a new ecosystem. Alright, and if you'll remember Lesson 6, we were trying to think about, we figured out factors that influence the population changes in the buffaloes before 1975 and how the population of the wildebeest is affected by these factors. So thinking about the disease in particular, the rinderpest disease, right? So before we get started, let's just quickly try to reflect on what did we figure out last class and what did we decide to investigate. So what did we figure out about the factors that affect whether a population of organisms can grow or stay stable? Do some of these factors affect more than one population of organisms at once? How are changes related? And how can we track what's going on here to help us understand when something causes a big change or a small change to the ecosystem? So go ahead and take a second to respond to that. All right. So next is the initial ideas, and what things should we be included in our model of the Serengeti ecosystem? So take a second and think about that. What are some big events that we've had that have had a big impact on the ecosystem that we've discussed? So what we've been including in our study of the Serengeti, and what have we been looking for and what's going on? In other words, what's in our model of the system as a whole? So what are all of the things that we've gone over and thought about? And then what do we need to still investigate to figure out how this population is changing? So go ahead and reflect on that one. Okay, so this is student activity sheet lesson 7. And to figure out how the rinderpest is affecting these different populations, we're going to be using a simulation, a computer simulation, okay? And so I want you to use, fill out 1 through 4 with predictions. So in this investigation, we're going to infect the buffalo with a contagious disease to see how it affects both the buffalo and the wildebeest populations. Remember that the original carriers of rinderpest was the cattle, but once this contagious disease was introduced to a population, it can spread throughout that population and also spread it to others. When a buffalo has a disease, it uses up stored food faster as it moves around. Okay, so based on these questions, go ahead and pause this video and reflect on number 1 through 4 of what you predict is going to happen. Okay, so now that you've done that, we'll be on the procedure for investigation now. So go ahead and go to that link. And the first thing that we're going to do is set the percent of grassland slider to any value above 80% for the central region. So that's this one. So if it's at 100, that's good. The next thing is to make sure that the vaccine button is pressed. Okay, so right now I have the vaccine on. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. Okay, so that's step B. Step C says click off the oh, that was step C. I'm sorry. B was set both the buffalo and wildebeest to 10. So here we have the buffalo to 10. And we're going to want to add the wildebeest also to 10. And then it says turn on the seasonal rains and wildebeest migrate buttons. And there should be checks on these boxes. So wildebeest migrate and seasonal rains. Okay. Then we'll press set up and reset. And we're ready to press go. Okay, and so now we're waiting to get to 500 ticks to infect the buffalo. So we're testing what's going to happen to the buffalo and the wildebeest populations once the disease spreads amongst them. So just wait until this hits 500. and then press infect. So we're at 400 and almost there. 500. And now we're just waiting for this to get to 1,000 to see what will happen with the vaccine. So you can speed it up a little bit. And so now we're at 800. And you're going to see a big change in the graph here. 900, so I'm going to slow it down. Okay. Ready, aim, fire. So I put the vaccine on. Now you're going to keep this going until you get to 2,000 ticks. And this is going to give you this graph, right? And this is going to show you a lot about what happened with the disease, because the population was growing steadily until the disease hit, and then we gave the vaccine. Okay, so these are the observations. I want you to compare the buffalo and the wildebeest here, and see what you can figure out about the disease, the rinderpest disease. And that will tell us a lot about whether the population change had to do with the rinderpest. So you're going to run this 2 more times, and you can practice running it at high speed. And then you're going to record your observations here. Okay? And then once you've done that, you can reflect on these questions, 5 through 8, and work with a partner if you can, if you'd like. And then the conclusion, the next step questions. Okay, and then these will be looked at by me to see how you've obtained the material. Okay, good luck. Let me know if you have any questions.